Hello, Mark Red Larson here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thanks for joining us. Today, my guest is Toni Vanschoyck from Charleston, South Carolina. How are you doing today?
I am doing great, Mark. I'm so honored to be a guest here on your show, and I'm just so glad that we met just a couple of months ago.
Yeah, very recently. Yeah, and an awesome place too. I mean, beautiful Italy.
Yes.
So it's just Italy's hard to get out of your system. I was ready to go back there the second we got home. So Charleston. How long have you lived there?
So I've been in Charleston for about 8 years. I'm
Okay.
I'm a I'm a reformed Northerner.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So where'd you come from then?
So I originally am from Detroit, and I was there for
Oh,
almost 30 years, and then I was in Chicago
wow.
for 10.
Oh, wow. So you know winters. Oh, you
Oh,
definitely know winters. That's for
it was
sure.
one of the reasons why I moved down here.
That would be me too. Because every winter here, it's like, why does anybody go through winter? It's definitely so. So what took you to Charleston? What took you particularly to that city?
Well, I had always wanted to live somewhere warm, and
Right.
I never wanted to see snow again. I've actually kept a really good promise to myself. I've only seen snow twice in the 8 years we've been
Awesome.
down here.
I love it.
Yeah, and so we just came down on vacation when one of our businesses that we started back in 2014 started to scale. It gave us a lot of options, and I
Okay.
wanted to get out of the big city. I didn't want to be somewhere cold anymore, and
Right.
also, I wanted to be in a better state with lower taxes.
Yes.
So
I hear you
we
on
kind
that.
of yeah kind of threw a dart at the map and said, "Hey, let's go to Charleston." So here
Uh-huh.
we are.
So I like that. I mean, that is so cool. So I take South Carolina's taxes are better than where you were at, Illinois or Michigan or Detroit's,
Uh,
Michigan's.
Way better than Illinois. So,
Okay.
yeah. So, and not only that too, I wanted a different lifestyle because, as a
Yep.
family, we had always lived around a major metropolitan area.
Okay.
And life down here in the South is a little bit different. It's a little bit more relaxed. It's a little bit laid
Hmm.
back, but
Yes.
man, I'm telling you, this area has one heck of a heartbeat.
Oh, I love that. That would be what I'd look for too. So, and that's so much worth it. So when you got to Charleston, what have you been doing since you've been in Charleston?
Well, I had mentioned back we moved down here in 2015, and
Okay.
so what I wanted to create down here is just a place where I could, build this beautiful outdoor space. And when they say build it and they will come, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've had people down here almost every week.
Oh,
This
wow.
Yeah,
So
it's
they
such
did come.
yeah, it's a really cool place. And we
Love
call
it.
it low country living. You got your high country and you got your low country.
Okay. That is cool.
So, yeah, so I am a conditioned southerner now. So I can say y'all, and
Oh,
yeah.
so cool. Oh, that is awesome. So you're becoming a Southern. Okay, I haven't heard the drawl very much yet, but you're getting there.
I
So
can I can fit right in. So I can throw down a southern accent pretty good.
that's pretty good. So how big is it? A metropolitan area is Charleston? Is it very big
So it's
size?
it's like a small big city, right? You have a lot of
Okay.
people that come down here because we've been in Condé Nast like the last 15 years in a row. It's one of the number one wedding destinations in the United
Ah,
States, and so it
okay.
gets a lot of press. But there's
Okay.
also a lot of history here,
Oh
and
yeah, I bet.
yeah. And then the other thing is too is that it's a very foodie and boozy type of town. Plus, we have the
Oh
beaches,
yeah, like a lot
so
of
there's a lot
win-wins
of
there.
yep. There's a lot of competition as far as the restaurant industry and everything goes. So, but I love it. It's just got this incredible energy.
Okay. No, I've never been to the Carolinas, period. So, but that, I mean, well, basically East Coast until this last year. Really had never been to the East Coast, and went to Virginia Beach, which was, it was all right. It was all right. So, so did you start the businesses you have right now? Did you start them right off when you got down to Charleston?
No, I actually I call myself kind of like a serialpreneur. Uh,
Okay.
I ran a really high end, busy restaurant chain for many years, and then I
Oh,
started
wow.
having children. That wasn't conducive to my
No.
schedule. I wanted to be a mom
True.
first. And
Right.
if any of you guys out there have been in the restaurant industry, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So,
Lots of
um,
hours.
I decided that when I was pregnant with Naomi, she's the third out of five. That
Okay.
I had to take a step back, and that's when I started my own businesses.
Okay.
We had two brick and mortars, and they did very well, and I was
Okay.
able to run the books and do all the back end work and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, which was incredibly helpful because I didn't have to put my littles in daycare.
Yeah. Which is worth so much. Yeah.
It's not only that, it's the time that you get back with your children, and it's also,
It
I
is.
mean, daycare, even back then, when my kids were little, it was still really expensive,
Yeah.
comparatively. I'm a professional woman working outside of the home, and I'm working 60 to 70 hours a week.
Hmm.
And so, you have to, be prepared not to see, especially if you have a full-time job, and that's okay. That's a choice for some.
Right.
That wasn't
Right.
that wasn't a choice for me because we only have a very small window of opportunity
Yep.
until our kids start getting bigger. And then all of a sudden, you're having grandkids. Like we just had our
Hmm.
second grandchild
Hmm.
um, that was born actually at the end of July. And
Uh-huh.
so, but you realize, being that I was working full time and then I decided to put my kids first,
Right.
how important that time was. And that's time you don't get back. And that
No.
was just,
That's true.
what I chose.
Yeah, and it seems like when you're a kid, it seems like time goes on forever. But boy, when you get on the other side of it, time goes by so fast. It's just in the blink of an eye. So,
Yeah, I mean, Mark, look at we're already September 1st. I mean, the,
yep,
the, the year has flown by.
it has. Yeah, I mean, I used to have an elderly lady that I used to work for, and she said, "Well, it's Friday again," and I didn't know for sure what she meant. And she's like, "It is. It's another week's gone by," and it is. It's just time goes by so quickly, and that's what I when I, with my dream catching and stuff. Where people say someday, it's like you better do it today. I mean, time goes by so fast, and some days don't normally occur. So it's just like you have to do it today, and
It's funny you mentioned that because there have been a lot of studies done on people that are like, they're ready to pass on to wherever you think they may pass on to.
right, right.
Is that the number one thing that they say is that I wish I would have done more in my
Yep.
life. That is
Yes.
one thing. Do not wait for tomorrow. You are not guaranteed
No,
that. And I can tell
you are
you,
not.
I speak from experience because I had a near death experience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 4 years ago, I almost died. And I'm
Gosh.
telling you right now, even though I'm a go-getter, I will jump into something if it's speaking to my soul and my heart.
Sure. Right.
But after that, I have not looked back at all. And there are some
Wow.
decisions and things that I failed at and that I regret. But you know
Mhm.
what? At least I tried it.
Yeah. Amen. Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
that's true too. Because you never know. If you didn't try it, you'd always wonder what would have been or what could have been. So, yeah, that is well, and that's one thing. The mentality, online mentality specifically. It's like, well, I'm going to go disappear. I'm going to ghost and disappear for so long. Which I think that's good to a point. But it's like you still have to do both. You have to live your life while you're doing that. It's just you don't you're not promised, and everybody's just like you. It's like, no, you have to. That's one thing with Cheryl's cancer, my wife. It showed you that you better live it today because you could get a diagnosis of cancer, or I mean, we're not promised that. So we definitely need to live for today. Try those things. Do all that. Live your life. Just live it. Live it like your last. The old saying, live it like you're dying. This is your last day, and there's a lot to that. So, I think that's neat. So those things that you tried, just weren't for you, or just wanted to see how they work.
Well, I tried starting, another business. I
Okay.
have lost a business. I tried starting another business.
Uh huh.
I got embezzled out of a lot of money,
Oh,
and
wow.
it was like the last 10 grand I had in the bank, right? So,
Yeah.
we put up some capital to start this, and yeah, and I thought I knew this person, right? And
Right. Right.
I had trusted this person, but it actually didn't work out. And
That's too bad.
I was completely and totally devastated. That's just, one of the things,
Right.
sometimes you think that you can really trust someone and you truly
Yep.
find out about their true colors. But I truly believe that that is a lesson.
Yep.
It's a lesson. And one of my favorite things that Ed Milet says is that it doesn't happen to you, it happens for you.
Yes.
You
Yes.
just don't know what the lesson is at this point yet.
True. Yeah, it is true. And I agree with that. It does happen for you because just get you for the next time you're in that situation. It's like, okay, I know this situation, so next time, hopefully you don't get into that situation. So um,
It's inevitable.
it
You're
is.
in order, and the bigger the dream, the more failures that there's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
But you can't get to the successes without the failures, without the
Yep.
learning.
Yep.
I was actually listening to Lewis Howes this morning, and
Okay.
he said in there, he said sometimes it's the biggest mistakes that you learn the most from. Right? It's the
Oh, yeah.
small mistakes you can learn from as well, and you can learn from the successes,
Yep.
but it's the bigger ones that are far more and few between that have like a more
Oh,
power pack
oh
punch.
yes, definitely. Yeah, yeah, they have an impact. That is for sure. So,
Yes.
yeah, they definitely make it a statement. You definitely, and that's to grow into the person that you have to go through that so you can become the person that can handle all that. And because everybody talks to me, it's like all this stuff. It's like, well, I'm going to be whatever right now. This, and it's like, no, you have to grow into the person that does that to become that person. So it's just like I'm going to be an entrepreneur. It's like there's a whole bunch you get to go through on that. So one thing, you have to be disciplined enough to do the stuff that you need to do too. So you were going to say something.
Yeah, entrepreneurism is not for the weak.
No,
Um,
it is not.
right. So you have to have, I mean, it's different than being a small business owner, because
Yep.
you can be a small business owner, but that's not the same as being an entrepreneur.
No, it
And
is
definitely
definitely.
the employee, no thanks. So,
I agree.
the great thing about, when you're an entrepreneur, you've learned how to scale what you're doing. And that's the fundamental difference between being a small business owner or a brick and mortar, and learning how to scale the business that
Yes.
you have, or the
Yes.
craft that you're in, or, whatever the case is, or
Right.
maybe it's something that you've always dreamt of and you're just starting out on it,
Yep.
or maybe you haven't done anything at all, but that
Right.
takes courage.
It does. Yeah, it really does. It's sometimes you wonder, it's like, what am I doing here? It's worth it. It is worth it. I mean, ask me on certain days, I may not think that way, but most of the time it's definitely worth it. So, and I all the way out of college, I knew I was not, because I did a little bit of restaurant management out of college, and it's just like, nope, this is definitely not for me. And I didn't want to be an employee. I just wanted to be I wanted to be my own boss, I guess, if you want to. I wanted to direct my direction. So rather than some company that says, "Oh, sorry, you're gone," or something like that. So okay, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, but that's the mindset that we need to, and one of the messages that I really wanted to be clear on, and every time I'm a guest on someone's podcast, is that entrepreneurism is true freedom.
Yeah, it is.
You're not paying you're not paying someone else half of, it's
Mm-mm.
almost half of
Yep.
what you earn
Yep.
to a government that doesn't support us anyways. You
No.
get to take charge of your life. You determine how much money you're going to make. You're going to determine the hours that you're going to work. You're going to
Yep.
determine your entire trajectory of your future. But you know what? We've got to unschool all of these people that have been taught,
Mm.
oh yeah, go to school, get good grades, go to
Yeah.
college, and work in a lifeless shit job for,
Yeah. Yeah.
as long as you can. Now, I know
Yeah.
that the average person changes careers now 8
Oh.
times.
Yeah.
It's
And I can
because,
see.
one, they're not living in their craft, and two, they're
Yep.
not truly operating in their gifts.
Right. No. And I'm surprised. I see these kids graduating high school, and it's just like they're still of like when I got out of high school. It's like, why, with all the possibilities out there, do you still think you have to go to college and get a job? And I know school is basically the same as when I went to school. School hasn't really changed, but there's so many possibilities out there, and most of these kids know because they're on their phones and they're dealing with it all the time. And it's just like, do what your soul says, do some soul searching. So
So for a lot of young people that I mentor with, I just love, like, my daughter Naomi, who's 23. I love getting around her friends, and the reason
okay.
why is because I can share with them different ideas than what was spoon fed to them.
Yes.
And I will tell you, I told my kid, I'm not paying for college. I would
Amen.
rather you apprentice with somebody successful in something that you want to do, because you're going to learn so
Yes.
much more.
Oh, yes. No, I mean, I went to college, and really, I knew most of it what I already needed to know before I went to college. And I like education, but I would not recommend somebody go to college, unless they were going to be like a doctor or something like that, where they needed the schooling.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, but it just amazes me how many kids still do that, the 40-40, and then we still are, it's like where I'm at. It's like, well, you surely got to be getting ready to retire. And it's like, why would I want to retire when I'm doing something I love? It's just, I've seen what happens when people normally retire that have done a job. They don't have anything to focus on anymore, so they start dying. They don't know what to do with their life, and that's a shame on a lot of levels. It's just, so I mean, it's just do it. And that's another thing. People say it's like, how many hours do you work and how many hours do you play? It's like, it's all together.
Truly co-mingled, right? So
Yeah, it is.
whenever I'm traveling, no matter where it is, you know what? I always take a day or two for myself, and it
Right.
kind of like commingles
Yep.
into, it's work. When, like you said, when you do something that you truly, that's in your craft, that you love, that
Yes.
you have passion for, you will never ever work a day in your life,
You
and that is
won't.
so true. So when I found my calling almost 25, 26 years ago,
Okay.
I could never imagine not doing it.
Yeah, it becomes addictive almost. It's just like, oh, what about that? If I could do this, or what if, it is. It's just, it's not work. That is for sure. And that's why I would never want to retire. And then I tell people that tell me that I should grind, which really triggers me. It's just like, I find when I'm not grinding, quote unquote, I get some of my best ideas, my epiphanies. And it's just like, I think if you have to grind, unless you're making coffee, I think you're doing it wrong. So, at least in my opinion on that. So, if you're going to grind some coffee beans, I'll go for that grinding. So
Grind and hustle. I understand that there has to be there has to be a sense of urgency. That
yes.
I completely understand, because the universe loves momentum.
Oh, it does. Yes. Speed. Yes.
So yeah, absolutely. But when you are not, and again, I'm going to use the word balance carefully.
Okay.
When you don't balance, okay, what you're putting into your craft, your work, right? And you
Right.
don't
Right.
balance it with self-appreciation, self-love, self-worth, self-recognition,
Yes.
then you can't really get to that level that you want to get at, in relationships, in
Yep.
business, what
Yep.
have you. Is that
Yes.
the number one investment in creating anything is investments into yourself.
Yes. Yes. And that is something that people don't seem to. They don't seem to see that. I started doing that. Well, the first time I invested myself was $10,000, and it's just like, I still, to this day, I'm amazed I wrote that check, or did that. But I've done so much more, and everybody's like, "How could you do that?" It's like, we do it with college and not even think about it,
Yep.
And it's just like, this is so much better return. So, because that's when I actually was in San Diego when I was doing coaching. I was learning how to doing all the coaching thing, and it's just becomes a habit, good habit, where you just keep on wanting to grow. So no, and I mean, I think that's something that, I don't know if that's still our society, the mindset. We were talking before, mindset and how important that is. The mindset of why we can put it into college, and that, I mean, with the doctor, if you're becoming a lawyer, you do have to do that. But just to grow, become a better person, because everything you're doing is, when you grow, you're helping all of the people that are out there waiting for you. So,
Yep.
but
And I totally agree. I totally agree with you 100%. But I also truly believe that each person has a special God-given gift that they were
Yep.
given.
I
And
agree.
that's where they need to live in their craft. And we've known
Yes.
probably about this since you were a child, of
Yep.
what you dreamt about doing, or things that brought you, insatiable joy.
Yes.
And that's where we need to live more in that,
Yep.
um, that particular energy. And that's what really will pay us tenfold, is that,
Yes.
when you're living that particular dream, or that skill set that was a God-given gift.
Mhm.
That's a fundamental difference from people being able to scale what they're doing and
True.
they're not. Because if you're not truly living in that energy, in that,
Mhm.
and we're conditioned,
Oh, yes.
and especially parents wanting, wanting to live vicariously through their children's eyes
Yep.
by forcing them to do things that are not who they are.
Yes.
So
Yep.
I am a huge proponent of, talking to our young generation, saying, you know what, you have your entire life in front of you.
Yep.
Go do it.
Yes. Yes. So, no, we need to get the message is getting out there, but not enough. I mean, it is definitely so much more. And well, I see so many kids. I know a lot of 20-year-olds, and it sounds like you deal with probably maybe a lot of that age group, but
Mhm.
there are anxiety, especially anxiety and lost. They just seem like they're lost. And I
Mhm.
just I'm trying to figure out. I mean, we're all kind of lost getting out of high school to somewhat, but these kids seem like they're really lost. I mean, what would be your opinion on that? Or do you find that?
I know, I absolutely do find it. Like, a lot of Naomi's friends right now are just in jobs because it pays the bills, right? But it's
Right,
not bringing them any joy.
right.
And so when you stifle that creative flow that you
Hmm.
were born with,
Right.
and you cast it aside enough, you're gonna lose that. Okay.
Yeah.
So I always say, yeah, you can have the job or do this right now, but what is it you really want to do, and start working on that today to make that
There
transition.
it is. Yes. Yes. Yeah. You just need to do that. I mean, we need to and we are getting the word out there that is the way to go. It is definitely the way to go. And I know you have some resources and have written books or,
Yes. So I have three books out there. One is for network marketers and small business, and people that are entrepreneurs. Okay. So it's like
okay.
your business basics. That was the first book I wrote. The
Okay.
second one, which is probably my favorite, is You Being the Best Version of You. And the
Cool.
third one is basically a compilation of leadership stories. Um,
Okay.
and those are all branded under our author speaking coaching platform called Effing Simple. Now,
Okay.
but the great thing about this is, Mark, is that these books are also like a workbook format.
Oh, okay.
The, the
Okay.
most powerful thing that you can do for yourself is to actually create what you really want out of your future by writing all of this stuff down.
Yes.
There's nothing more powerful than, you telling yourself, like, I do this workshop where I have people write a future letter to themselves, a 1 year,
Okay.
5 year, 10-year goal
Right. Right.
and dreams. And it's one of the hardest things that people have to do, because they have to realize that there is nothing more important than
Yep.
what you want and what you feel on the inside. People will help you truly get, where you want to,
Right. Yep.
because we as humans, we have this inherent nature, well, most of us,
Yep.
is that we want to see other people happy, positive, and
I
succeed.
agree. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I very much agree.
So when we change that dialogue and we do it from our own inner voice,
Mm-hmm.
that's the most powerful thing that you can do.
True. Yeah, I could see that. Okay.
Yeah. So you
That's
write the
cool.
future letter to yourself, and then you read it out loud, you record it, you can get on, a lot of platforms. There's a lot of free stuff out there, and you
Right.
record yourself reading this letter to your future self.
Wow.
Guess what? There's nothing more powerful than doing that.
I bet.
And
Yeah. Wow.
and you start seeing things immediately.
I can believe that. Yep.
I'll give you an example. So I had I built this new podcast studio here, and I had my first live guests actually come in for it.
Okay.
Yeah. And so anyways, we were talking about this same exact thing, writing this future letter to yourself.
Right.
You have to be very descriptive. If you guys want to take the course, just you can hit me up. Mark, I'm sure that you can put my information out there, but
Oh,
I'm Toni.
definitely.
Yeah, Toni Vans Official, VANS on Instagram. That's where I do a lot of my communication through.
Okay.
But the really cool part about this is that it gives you step-by-step instruction on how you create your life that you want. I call it living life by design.
Awesome.
And, I was on here and I was talking to the folks that were here, and I was telling them how I had, rewritten my letter 3 months ago. I need to rewrite it again. Saying that I wanted to be on 10 different stages outside of my industry.
Right.
So 2 days, I get an invitation to go to Portugal to speak. Then I got the invitation where we met in Italy to speak. Then during that podcast, when I was telling them I wanted more speaking gigs, I had a guy that I just met through my book publisher asked me to come to Hilton Head and speak.
Oh, wow.
Just by asking, because if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
No, exactly. It is. Yeah, it is. It's as simple as asking, but most of us don't. So that is so cool. And so does it? I mean, speaking, speaking probably comes easily to you on stage.
Well, I that's where I get my joy from.
Okay.
I from, even if it's just one person and us, and we're at a coffee appointment or something like that, I always look at how can I serve people. But if you have a more vast audience, you're going to be able to serve more people.
Right.
But I really like, I love the intimacy, because I really like to get to know people. And I'm a people person, but I mean, I've spoken on stage up to 25,000 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a good size audience.
It is a good size audience. And it just is electrifying to me, because if I see those light bulbs starting to go off when you're speaking, and I see those light bulbs and I say, oh my gosh, give me 1 second. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
My apologies profusely.
That is fine.
I had all of this all planned out, and here I am making amends, because we had that tornado, and so everybody's behind a day.
Oh, getting everything kind of
caught up from all of it. Okay, so I was saying that when okay, I already lost my train of thought here. This is crazy. When you're living in your craft, and you're actually out there sharing with people, and you're operating from that place that you're going to attract all of these other amazing people into your life because of that.
Yes.
So, that's one thing, is that we have to ask, we have to articulate what we want. We have to be our own best champions. And, and we've got to keep the blinders on, man. I'm telling you, there's a huge difference that when you're distracted and you're going in all these other different directions, and you're not focused on the end result of what you want, you'll never get there.
True. Yeah. You definitely have to be really, really pinpoint focused. Yes. I know what you mean there. So, when was the first time you spoke on stage?
Oh my gosh. I've been speaking on stage for 15 years, and I started I just love providing value. And if, like I was getting to before, is that even if I can just see the light bulb go on for one person, and I can just touch one person a day, think about the ripple effect. That's 365 people a year.
Yeah. And that's a lot of ripple. I love ripple.
Right. But you look at it, it's like a penny that doubles every day.
Yep.
Yeah. Look at it. And if you can make someone's day better, just one person, you think about that domino effect that starts to happen, because we definitely need more positivity and more kindness in the world.
Oh, yes, we do. Yes. Yeah, no, it is. And we do need a lot of ripple. And I mean, it is. I mean, most people, like I've said at previous podcasts, most people are not living their dreams, they're living their fears, and we need the positivity that, everything's possible. You have to believe, but you have to, and I always tell people to write it down, kind of like you said, put it into reality, but it's just so many people are existing, they're not even, there's no ripple hasn't gotten to them, and they just are waiting for retirement, waiting for Friday, waiting for whatever, they're waiting all the time. And yeah, we have to get out there and show them there's another way, many other ways.
Exactly, exactly. It's just like you creating a life. You don't need a vacation, right?
No, right.
Because we as entrepreneurs, and especially when I'm investing in myself and I'm going to masterminds and I'm,
Yep.
when I'm sharing with other people or I'm going to these, success events, I try to do that at least once a month, even if I'm traveling,
Very good.
because it's so important. That's how I get my cup filled from being around different types of people in a room where I
Yeah.
come from. That
Yep.
to me is like my favorite way of getting my cup filled, because I'm pouring into a lot of other people's cups.
Yeah.
And especially, in my main business, which, is a network marketing business,
Hmm.
is that really is what you do. You're leading,
True.
amazing people, but
Yep.
you are their cup filler.
You are. You definitely are. They're looking to you to, yeah, exactly that. And I do know what you mean by getting your cup filled, because I like being in proximity. I like going to Vegas. I've been there, and I like the speakers, but I love the people that are there, that have the same mindset. And it's like, talk about addictive. I love that. In fact,
Yeah,
I
no,
mean, I listen to the speakers, but I listen to talk to the people that are there too. So, which is so awesome.
yeah. Yeah, but I agree. But that's also, you have that instant bond with
You do.
people when you're in that room, because they're operating at a higher energy, a higher vibration.
Yep.
And, that's where I want to be. I want to be, because when you walk into a room,
Yep.
you have to carry and bring that energy. And a lot of times that room will have lower energy. You're going to be the
True.
solo person that's going to bring the entire vibration up, because
Right.
that's, you know what, when you are operating at a very, and I sometimes have to tune it down, because sometimes my energy, and I am such a high vibrational person, it
Okay.
repels people. And so even though I'm going to bring that, no matter where I go, you
Right.
really have to fine tune it, because you do want to. I mean, when I walk into a room, I want to win them over. I want to make them
Hmm.
my best friends. I want to find out what makes them tick, and I want
Right.
to find out how I can serve them.
Yes. I understand that feeling 100%. That, yeah, you want to serve. Yeah, you just want
Yes.
to, yeah, definitely want to serve. So I got to ask before we get too far. I always ask, since it's a Dreamcatcher podcast, what was your dream when you were a child?
So I had this dream of being a truck driver for the longest.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. So,
I was like, I can travel, because I love to travel. I can be on the road. I'm my own boss, because I was like,
uh,
I can buy my own truck.
right.
And, and it just really was that freeing lifestyle. And, they make really good money.
They do. Oh, yeah.
Yep. But, the fact of the matter is when I started driving, I didn't like driving. So I'm like, that's probably not the right
Not
profession.
gonna, so you did do it?
No, no.
Oh, I was gonna say, that's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
if you over the
No,
over the
I
road
never
truck driver.
drove a semi.
Okay. Okay.
So, and that was a blessing in disguise.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I mean, that is so cool, because I mean, it's always interesting to see what people were, and I love that, where you want to be a truck driver, and if you ever want to, my sister is a truck driver. She actually
That's so cool.
drives,
That's
so
so cool. And
and
especially,
she loves it. So, in fact, the other day she was in Florida and on her way to Arizona.
yeah,
So,
I
there's
love seeing women that are really successful in a male
yeah,
dominated
yep,
profession.
yes,
So that really to me is really cool. I mean, really, really cool. And at the time when I was really young, I had met a female semi truck driver when I forget where we were going. I was with my family and we were going either on vacation or to my grandma's or something like that. And she was just like the coolest person. Like,
mm-hmm.
this is back in the day you had CBs. Remember those things?
Well, yes, definitely.
Yeah, but so I just thought it was a really cool lifestyle. But now I get to be the truck driver of my own life.
You do, yeah, and that I would rather I'm glad my sister likes it. I probably wouldn't last a day. And I mean, she does know how to. I mean, she loves it, and she definitely knows how to handle herself in that industry. So, because it's male dominated. That's even to this day, it still is that way. So, no, that is so cool. So no truck driving in your future then.
No, I'm afraid not. I,
So,
I've always, so I moved around a lot when I was a kid, and I think that's why I can make friends and,
okay.
people know, like, and trust me, like, in 5 minutes, because I'm really
Right.
interested in finding out, their interests and what makes them them. And I
Hmm.
have a genuine curiosity about people.
Right.
And so because I was moved around a lot, I always had to adapt because I was always the new kid in class.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really what gave me a lot of the skill set that I still use to this day.
No, it was a gift, a blessing, really,
Yes.
to do
Yes.
that. So okay, we were talking about beforehand. So wealth. Why do you think most people in this country struggle with wealth?
It's, again, you got to unschool what you've been schooled.
Yeah.
So, people are not really taught on how to invest, where to
Hmm.
invest.
Hmm.
They're not taught about certain products that have been around for many, many years, and they're never talked about, not in a public school setting, not in a private
True.
setting.
Yep.
You really have to learn from really your parents, because your parents got the education from somewhere else. And
Right.
actually,
Right.
these legacy wealth platforms that they've been around for hundreds of years.
Okay.
And they actually were created by the Carnegies, the Rockefellers, the
Really?
Fords.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. And there's three main platforms. And so what I have so many people that come to me, asking me what to do. So,
Hmm.
one, they don't end up in a higher tax bracket. Now, mind you, I'm not a financial advisor, nor do I want to be, because that is old school thinking.
True.
And I am not a proponent of that at all. I want to teach people really how to invest their capital gains and their wealth to make
Okay.
it through them. And that's
Okay.
through three things: self-directed IRAs, it's through infinite banking, and also real estate investments.
Okay. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah. So
So,
a lot of people do know about it, but they don't know and they don't understand, how they can really reduce their taxes by participating in these programs. So
hmm,
like I said, I only know what I know, and I've made
right.
millions of dollars. I'm not
Right.
kidding you, Mark. Millions of
Okay.
dollars worth of
Okay.
mistakes.
Okay. Oh, okay. I know how that can go. Yes.
Yes. Yes. And so what I've done is collectively taken experts that I've learned from
Hmm.
and just teaching people, look, this is what you have to do. You've been taught this old way. No, this is the way that you do it.
Yeah.
Not through a 401k, not through, stocks and bonds and all that kind of stuff. Your own self-directed IRA, which can operate in the same exact fashion as what I had mentioned before. Now, am I not
Okay.
you? No, some
Okay.
people do really well, but they're not going to provide retirement for you. They're not
No.
going to create legacy wealth. I'm talking about generational wealth that I can give to my children, my children's children, their
Right.
children, my great 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 grandchildren. And so
Right.
I can carry this on by teaching other people, my own family, these particular principles, because I didn't know about these 4 years ago.
No. No, and I can believe that. I mean, I probably have learned just from the little bit that we've talked. I mean, just I still don't know for sure what infinite banking is, but I've learned a lot from you already. And and I know why schools don't teach it. We got to have all the algebra and all the
Because
stuff in
they
there that
want
we never
they
use.
it's part of the economic slavery.
Yep. Oh yeah.
You think about this. Kids are taught now to go get a loan for college at the tender age of 18. They're already going to start off with at least $100,000 in debt by the time that they're done with that
Which is terrible.
college career, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So, and not only that, college can only teach you very, very little. It doesn't teach you life skills. None of this educational system that's out there
No.
teaches you about finances. It's
No.
practically non-existent. When I was in a senior in high school, we were required to take business mathematics. You know what? That doesn't even exist anymore,
Okay. I
right?
didn't even get that. So okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So just basics, how to balance a checkbook. Everybody is like, what's a checkbook? And people are, spending so much more money because they have
Mhm.
everything on their phone. They're
Yep.
not tracking their expenses. They're not
At
tracking
all.
anything.
No, they're not. As an example, the other day we were in a store and the kid was using his debit card and said that the cashier, asked if he wanted a receipt. He's like, "No, I just go until it doesn't work anymore." And it's like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know how you could do that." That I couldn't do that.
But you know what? But this is the reality of it. And we're going to be in for a world of hurt with this generation that's not being taught, don't spend more than you make.
Yep.
Set aside, you've got to set aside at least 10 to 20% of it every single month. I don't care how hard times are.
Yep.
It does not matter. If you
It
don't
doesn't.
start setting aside something so you can invest in one of these three platforms,
Yep.
you're going to be hurting. You are going
You
to
will. Yeah. I mean, you're going to be to quote unquote retirement, because we all are going to get old. Eventually we're going to need, some, maybe not quote unquote retirement, but we're going to need some funds to, if we can't work as much, or, life happens, because life does happen.
Yep. It sure does. So, but this goes back to, it's got to be residual income.
Yes.
That
Yes.
has to be where you build it once and you keep getting paid on it. And then the more money that you make, you can reinvest it. But the one thing, and we have 4 different residual income streams.
Okay.
So like, when we were talking, I had a near-death experience 4 years ago, and I had to take a step back.
Okay.
But my income still kept going, So it's really important for people to look at, okay, what can I do that's going to continue paying me?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Every single month. Like, my real estate investments, I get mailbox money every single month.
Yep.
But that doesn't come without, investments and also strategies. You've got to keep learning about new and different things up and coming.
Especially in this day and age, yes, where things are changing so quickly. So
yes.
Yeah, I mean, that just this is so needed. I mean, so would you ever think about doing satellites or franchises of what you do? Or what does your business look like in 5 years to you, or 10 years, something like?
Well, our main business, which is a network marketing company, which we
Right.
launched back in 2014, it scaled quite quickly.
Okay.
It's a $3 billion brand now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Very blessed. Very blessed. We just opened we're getting ready to open our 11th country.
Cool.
So that's just one of the things, but
Okay.
with the books and courses and, creating digital platforms, and we have a software company, it's all residual.
Very good.
So, I can go out and somebody can go to Amazon and buy a book. I'm going to get, my KDP royalty payments because Amazon with the best.
Right.
Sorry guys, but if you're thinking about writing books, you got to be on that platform.
You do. Oh, yes.
Yes. And then also too, the digital products, the courses,
Yep.
I'm doing a virtual, wealth seminar with some of the folks that I was talking about earlier in the next couple of weeks. And then we're doing a face-to-face amazing event down in Tampa. Just different things like that, but it's a revenue stream, right?
Yeah.
So you have to really think smart, and you have to diversify.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you have to definitely be diversified. Just because everything's changing. It's definitely a dynamic. Everything's dynamic anymore because we have Chat GPT and AI and all the stuff that's going there. Not for sure how that all will play, but it's I'm sure it's going to have, or it is having an impact on things. So you just got to keep relevant. That is definitely for sure. So okay. So are your kids are part of this then, or do they help you out on this?
So we're an entire family business.
Okay, you are. Okay.
So yeah, so two of my girls. Okay, so my 15-year-old, she's a social media queen.
Okay.
She still teaches me stuff on social media.
Okay.
But so she does all of that. But right now she's just a kid. She's a teenager.
Right.
And the one thing that I've always wanted my kids to do is to have a kid life, right?
Yeah, I think it's very important.
And I think that's really important too. And and I did not make her get a summer job.
Okay.
I'm like, look, you work really hard during the school year. She gets great grades. She goes to a private homeschool co-op.
Okay.
And the curriculum is a lot different. And it's really, really difficult.
Okay.
But I'm like, that's your job. 7 months out of the year, that's your job, right?
Yep.
The other 4 months, actually 5 months, she goes to 5 months. So they have a shortened school year.
Okay.
But the other 5 months, I said, I want you to have fun. I want you to hang out with me and your dad. You can help with the business. She has certain tasks that she has to do. She has
Okay.
certain duties she has to do around the house. We do not pay allowance. I don't believe in that.
Huh.
You're
I
lucky to have
agree.
a roof over your head and food in your mouth.
That was the way my parents were too. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
There was
So,
definitely no allowance.
yep. And then, so my 23-year-old, who's our full-time, our full-time girl, she does all of our event planning. She does all of my social media. She's a whiz.
Okay.
She does all the back end stuff that I don't like doing. And then my
Okay.
husband,
Perfect.
yeah, my husband helps with training calls, and he also he does all of our finances and everything like that. Again,
Wow.
stuff I don't
Okay.
like doing because I'm
Right.
not
Right.
really in the craft.
Okay. So that is really that is a family business. I mean, that everybody's got a strength. That is very, very good. So, so what are some other things that you would like the audience to know today?
Well, you know what? Here's the one thing is that you can go to any of our social media, you can go to any of our websites or anything like that.
Okay.
There's always something that I'm going to provide for value for you for free. I have a free ebook. You can
Okay.
just go to effing simple, EFFING simple.com.
Okay. Okay.
And you just put your information in there, you'll be sent a free ebook. And so what that is I took the best out of all three books and I kind of compilated this because I just want to get the
Yeah.
messaging out there to people on a broader form scale.
Yes.
Also, too, you'll be kept, apprised of any of our virtual events that we're doing, any face-to-face events that we're doing. I love, 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 love meeting people.
Mm-hmm.
It,
Mm-hmm.
it brings me, like I said earlier, immense joy.
Yep.
So,
Me too.
those are just a couple of the things that I really love doing. I also too, if you need speakers, my background is sales. I'm just, something that I'm really passionate about.
Right.
Sales coaching is simple, right?
Okay.
But what I really love is I love talking about vision casting, mindset, this whole wealth thing. God's been nudging me for 2 years to do this, and I kept putting him off. And,
Uh-huh.
I got kicked right square in the hind,
Yeah.
yeah, the
Uh-huh.
hind ends of it. And just like, this is where you need to go. This is what you need to do. You need to teach other people these
Right.
philosophies and these
Yep.
platforms because I mean, really, that's how we're going to make a difference in our own lives is learning how not to be a slave anymore and,
True.
get out of that economic debt
Yes. Oh, yes.
bullshit that they shove
Yeah.
down our throats.
They do, and yeah, there's so many people. I mean, what did they say? 70% of the population of the United States doesn't even have $1,000 or something like that. And
No, it's like,
it,
okay, so the new statistic, almost 90%,
wow,
and only 2% of the population in the United States is truly financially and time free.
wow, that is
2%. So
unbelievable.
you think about that. Why do they want to keep you on the hamster wheel?
Well, for one thing, you're easier to control.
And it's the money, it's the
Hmm.
power, and
Yep.
it is time. It
Yep.
is time for us to take that power back.
Amen. Yes, I very much agree on that because it is. I mean, it's just because I mean, when they got you there, you basically can't get off that hamster wheel. They're just going to make sure you stay on it and keep on. And yeah, and that's not living. That's not a
No,
way. That's definitely not living. And
no.
that's
This
not
is why,
catching your dreams or anything. So you were
yep,
going to say
but this is why becoming an entrepreneur is so important. It's the only way that you can break the shackles.
it is very, very much. Yeah, and it just. So have you ever thought about ever doing like a school, like a
I've I've had that come up, several times.
uh-huh.
Um, I would say yes and no. It would have to be completely digital
Okay.
because I don't want to have a brick and mortar. I don't want to have,
I hear you.
the all of the all of the things around that. But to have maybe quarterly face-to-face events. It's so funny you asked me this, Mark. I've had like 4 people ask me that this week.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So, but I have to listen to the messages that I'm getting, right? So,
Right.
creating digital courses, because we have the software platform, that is very simple, and
Right.
I could turn around and do that very quickly. So I actually started talking to my software team about that. You know, how can we really be able to help people, make it a reasonable investment into their future,
Right.
and make it also like a time invest. For me, it's all about the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that could be, yes, a lot of time
I'm
there that you,
I'm a doer, and I'm always up and go. Like right now I'm fidgeting because I know we're an hour in, but I'm like, I'm up, I'm doing things, I'm hanging out, I'm,
uh-huh.
you know, I when I do calls, hey, if
Uh-huh.
it's a phone call, or if it's like a three-way or something, like I'm out pacing while I'm talking.
That's kind of me. I can relate with that. I get well, you can ask Cheryl, my wife. It's just like I'm almost like a caged animal. I mean, somebody's like they sit in an office and and it's like, oh, I couldn't do that all day. I have to be moving. I am like a caged animal, and I'm not a very happy caged animal either. In that way, uh,
But
so I can relate.
yeah, but they would have to be effective. It would have to be short, and it would have to have really great content, and of course accommodate all learning styles. So that is not my forte, with learning styles, because I know what my learning style is. But
Right. Right.
I can usually speak to most people that are, if I'm speaking to them and we're having dialogue, I can usually figure out how to speak to them based on their personality.
Right.
You can't always get that, in a
True.
in a digital setting.
That is true. Yeah, that is very true. So, no, and if it keeps calling to you, maybe it'll come. It'll keep evolving to maybe a format or an area that will work. So, because it is such a needed thing in this, I think in the world. I think very much, but specifically here in the United States, it's just, it's not good. That's for sure. So, but
Yeah,
so
the US went from being number 11 in the world, and now we're 19.
wow,
Yeah.
that's
So
a big drop.
it is a huge drop. It's a huge drop, but it's also speaking to, and again, I don't want to get off on a tangent on this, but how they're trying to control, what people
Mm-hmm.
are making, what they're paying in taxes,
Yep,
just, and that's the reality of the situation. So
it
we all
is.
have to be independent advocates, because we don't work for the government. The government works for
Right.
us.
Yeah, I think they forget that. But yes, that is the
Oh,
way it's supposed to work. Yes. Yeah. What's that?
they've totally forgotten it.
Oh yeah, we're supposed to do everything they say. Yes. They forget where their paychecks. Well, they come from a lot of other places too that they really shouldn't. But
Yeah.
yes, we we definitely need to. They need to remember that greatly. So, and I don't know how we got. Well, I do know because people don't pay attention. They're so much into their world, and then they're it's like I don't know what the thing is. The cat is the mouse is in charge of the cheese or something like that, or I don't know that. It's they can do about anything they want. So and yeah, that could be a long podcast. Maybe not a very good one either. That would might get a little political on that and a lot of
No,
other
yeah,
things.
it would,
So
but we have to have these conversations.
we do. Oh yes.
Sweep them under the carpet anymore. That's where it's gotten us.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's another big deal for me, is, teaching freedom principles. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've been studying, a lot of this stuff for the last 3 years,
Okay.
because I've known a lot of things for 20 years,
Uh huh.
which probably made me a lot more open, very, very quickly.
Okay.
And so seeing what I have seen happen, I could talk about this for hours, but we have to be advocates for our lives. We have to
We
be
do.
advocates for our children. We have to be
Yes.
advocates for our grandchildren. And you know what?
Exactly.
Our legacy families that we're going to,
Yeah,
keep building. And if we
the
don't,
future generations. Yeah. So,
exactly.
and it's kind of at the very least, I think it's scary what's going on in this country. It's kind of to a point I never thought it would get, and that's been interesting. The view of people when I've been doing podcasts. Been doing a lot of podcasts in Europe from Europe lately, and it's very interesting their take on what's going on over here because they're definitely watching what's going on over
Do you,
here. And
do you know the 2 weeks that I was over there, when we first met
uh
face
huh.
to face, I can't tell you how many Europeans were asking me, what the hell is going on over there?
Yes, they are wondering what's going on.
And
It's
I'm
like,
just like,
good question.
yeah.
We kind of wonder that too. So
I'm like, how much time do you have?
exactly, because it could encompass a lot. No, it is. I talked to a guy day before yesterday from Spain for 5 hours about all this, and it was very eye opening with
Yep.
their view on that. Well, Tony, if there's anything else you would like to bring to the audience, that'd be great. Or maybe I'll just end it right there. And um,
I think that, just this, I love to spitball. It's my favorite thing to do. But if there is any value that I could give to you, okay, just at least, go to effingsimple.com, sign up for the ebook, right? And
okay,
you're going to
okay,
get, recommendations. You're going to get experts that are going to be sharing with you through our newsletters and all of our events and everything like that.
cool.
And I want to know how I can make an impact and make tomorrow better for you.
Yes, that is so. Doesn't get any better than that. That is so awesome. That's such a great way to end the podcast here. So, well, Tony, thank you for being our guest on the Dreamcatcher podcast, and maybe have you back sometime down the line for a follow
I
up.
would be so honored. This was such an honor for me today, Mark,
Oh,
and I
well,
just
thank
want
you.
to thank you for having me on. It
Oh,
means a lot.
well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate that greatly. So on that, have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.